So we got one more subject to go over. We're going to talk about real quick. The premise of vaccine passports. Yeah, sounds totally legit. I find this ironic because this is what people were saying on the conspiracy websites over a year ago when this whole thing started. But I do have an article pulled up. We've got it from CNN. So I'm not going to say it's a good article, but I like to use sources that normies think are good. So we're going to go with CNN here. We got the COVID vaccine passport. The Biden administration helps develop standards to prove vaccination. And basically, they are working on an app that would go on your phone that would be scanned. The saving grace for this, because it sounds like a forced vaccination program to me, which as a guy who's not anti-vax by any stance, I don't like the idea of forcing stuff on people. Is that
sex?
Yeah. Basically they said it will also do negative COVID tests. So like whenever you got a negative COVID test, it would update on your thing. Said governments around the world may seek proof of vaccination before foreigners can enter their borders again. Understood. The administration's plans were first reported by the Washington Post. The Biden administration previously said the federal government should not be involved in efforts to create a vaccine passport system to verify that people have been vaccinated. But the Post, citing 5 officials who spoke on the condition anonymity, because that seems super trustworthy, reported the effort has been driven largely by arms of the Department of Health and Human Services, including an office devoted to health information technology. So they're working on, basically you'll have this cute little app on your phone that'll have a QR code. What do you guys think? You think that's, my personal stance was I get a little bit nervous whenever the government wants me to, have a brand on my cell phone that says that I've done something. You guys think it's weird?
I agree. I'm a little apprehensive about it. We'll see what happens. It happens.
The one thing that I thought I meant to mention this earlier, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but this ties into it. So earlier this week, Bloomberg releases this article, right? And the article says, prepare for a spending spree that rivals the 1920s, right? And they say a post-pandemic, post-vaccinated America means a spending spree in the roaring 20s, right? And people have said, you had the 1918 Spanish flu, then you had the roaring 20s, right? And then, so I'm like, oh, that's cool. Bloomberg says that there's going to be this huge thing, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, Bloomberg posts another article that says, prepare for permanent pandemic. What the hell are you talking about? A permanent pandemic. The term pandemic, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I believe by definition means a period in time that a virus is affecting people. And it says, because of this, don't expect for normalcy, don't expect a return, don't expect for the vaccine to help anything, and don't expect for this pandemic to ever end. Now, I don't know who this person is who wrote this ridiculous article. It upsetted me this morning because it was just like, the point of the vaccine, if the health is showing right now, the reports are showing that this is actually helping people not spread this disease, stop this virus in its tracks, then isn't that point of the vaccine? At certain point, I have never seen such a debauched shit show of information in the history of this planet as what has been presented with this virus and this global pandemic. It is unacceptable, it is unexcusable, it is disgusting. The fact that medical professionals can't explain to any of us, the general public, whether or not a vaccination helps prevent the spread of this disease or not, or virus or not. No one even knows. They say, oh, we'll take the vaccine. Okay, so then I can go out. Well, no, you still have to wear the mask and you still can't do anything. Then why on the vaccine? You know what I mean? The point of the vaccination is to become vaccinized so you don't have to worry about this virus. So that's what I don't understand about any of this. And as far as the passport goes and entering country, I know that there was a lot of conspiracy around that. I saw that as just a natural thing. When you have something like Brazil, where you have these countries that are really getting hit hard, and they are able to bring that number down, they're not going to want people to come in and reinfect or redo whatever. So I feel like the writing's on the wall for international travel that you will have to be vaccinated. As far as whether or not we demand that you have to be vaccinated in the country domestically, I think is, because we don't really have a say if China says to enter that those are vaccinations. There have been many vaccinations over the years that you've had to have requirements to visit parts of the world that you've never been exposed to those viruses that exist there, all Africa and et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't know if really that's actually that different than things that we've dealt with in the past. But right now, with the speed of it and the confusion of it and the disinformation, the conspiracy theories, and the lack of a true communication to the people of what the hell's going on has left everybody just like, what's going on?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't disagree with it internationally, I think, but within domestically, and they're talking about this isn't going to be just for like traveling. This is going to be like something that like concert venues and restaurants and other businesses will be allowed to say, hey, show me your papers before you enter the building. And that scares me mostly because I think and my first thought was, and G-Dubs or Ryan, chime in and tell me I'm fucking wrong. This seemed like a HIPAA violation to the Health and Patients Protection Act or whatever. Well, basically, it felt like a violation of HIPAA to tell somebody, hey, you have to have gotten this medical treatment before you can enter our premises.
It's what's the difference between saying, all right, you need to have a vasectomy in order to enter this whorehouse.
You mean I get it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's time to tell me.
It's a very good, I like that.
But this is another thing, again, that it just doesn't make sense, is the fact is it's like there are two paths to immunity, right? For herd immunity or whatever. Either you have vaccination or you get the disease, the virus, you build the antibodies to it, and you naturally have the antibodies to this virus. Isn't it a logical progression that if one remains unvaccinated indefinitely, that they'll probably, if this thing continues to exist, will have the virus, either die, get sick, deal with long-term illnesses, or build an immunity to it, in which case we're that much closer to herd immunity. So it's like one of those things where I don't really understand. It's like, if this is the goal, the end goal, and I get that, and then you have the point of the vaccination is to protect the most vulnerable, right? Well, the most vulnerable in this country, pretty much almost across this entire country, are going to be able to have this by May. So if you feel like if you got this virus, it could kill you, and you wanted the vaccination, you can get that. And now in New York and Vermont and all over the country. So they really, I feel like the government's, the way that they've shown kind of this inept quality to communicate information in a way that's direct and clear to the people, it's very obvious that this country no longer has, if nothing else, the ability to do that.
And one of the things that, and Thad kind of talks about it in the comments, and I agree with him fully, is that what they're kind of worrying about is getting everything done before it mutates, which if you look at like Great Britain, where it already has, and I believe they've found some cases in the Pacific Northwest where it's has already mutated in the United States.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 different strands now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But then they say the science that I read today was a U.S. study that said this vaccine is very good against all the mutations.
Yep.
So they should show that it's proving well against the mutations. So it's like, what the hell is the conclusion? And what I don't understand is the idea of saying something like we've seen for one entire year. You'll say something, 2 days later, they say something else. 2 days later, they say something else. To me, I believe, and I'm no academic, but I believe in having a conclusion of what you are talking about and being articulate about conveying the information at hand. If you need 2 more days to say, listen, we don't know what's going on, and we will tell you in a week or a month, whenever we have information that we can tell you and be certain of. But we're not going to say, listen, this thing, this mutation could be terrible. This might be terrible. The vaccine we have might not even work. Guess what? It works. 2 days later, we don't know if it works. Might not work. We don't know.
Right. Right.
Figure out what the hell is going on and report back to us. That's why we pay the checks to you to figure out and do your job, and then tell us what needed us to do. And then if that was that, I think we could all work together on this. But the problem is you have the left saying one thing, the right saying one thing, conspiracy saying this thing, this saying this thing, and nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Thaddeus comments transparency in government.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful, Thad. I actually made a comment.
Representation of taxation. Yeah.
A call back to the early show. We were talking about the gun thing. I actually left a comment on somebody's post the other day about, being scared of guns and this and that. I'm like, hey, I got this revolutionary idea, guys. How about we make murder illegal, and then people will stop murdering each other? And a friend of mine commented back, hey, stop thinking outside of the box. And, dude, I'm sorry. I'm kind of a fucking visionary. I wanted to read a couple comments because we got some really good ones in here. Dwayne had said, I used to do certain things. The vaccine passport is just the start. Face eyeball recognition. Let's go down the Jessica rabbit hole. I like how you said that together, my friend. I agree. That was part of my concern, was that once you have this on your phone, there's no reason not to have it and to add other features to it too. Because as if we know anything about our government as it currently sits, things that get added on in emergency situations tend to stay there. Much like the FBI. The FBI was created to check out one thing, and now it is a giant thing. He said, Dwayne said this, Boston Dynamics, the robots they made dancing to look cool and shit, those are going to be our new police officers, which might be good because, and then we can truly defund the police because they just run on electricity. It says it's a new way of life. Appy, the big words sociology, anthropology, etc. All the sci-fi movies. Do we think the Jetsons and Star Trek would be real? We did have lasers on dolphins. No bullshit. I would like to think that we are someday going to be living in that Star Trek post-scarcity world. But,
well, you know that the CEO of Motorola didn't know how to take telecommunication, and he came home frustrated, and he turned on Star Trek, and he realized when he talked to the thing, he said, Scotty, beam me in, that he just had the ability to talk from any place. And he realized the future of telecommunication was in a device that you could just communicate with from any place. And that's where he invented the cellular device. The cellular phone was completely inspired by Star Trek and Captain Kirk's ability to just report back while on a planet remotely.
So was the tablet, actually, or the touch screen.
Oh, really?
You go back and look, you'll actually see in a couple episodes they're using a touch screen, like on like what we think of as just a tablet or an iPad now, but at the time that was absolutely crazy.
There are many cases of sci-fi inspiring modern inventions.
Let's see. We got another comment. Dwayne says the left and right are two wings of the bird. The 8 Ivy League institutions control our politics. It costs $70,000 for one semester. That financial debt is a new financial chain that controls citizens to make us make different decisions. He says, I'm from Manhattan. I can tell you some freaky deaky shit. I agree. There's a lot of concerning facts about that, Dwayne. Like the fact that 6 companies own almost every news outlet in the U.S.
Well, really, one family. What's it? Bergdorf.
The Bilderberg.
No, the guy who owns it. It's Bergdorf Madoff. Last name, I think, is it?
I don't know. I did see a crazy post the other day talking about how the only 3 conservative-leaning news outlets in the U.S. are pretty much Fox News, the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal opinion section are all.
Don't forget Nickelodeon news.
Those are all owned by the same
one guy.
Those are all owned by the same guy. That's that Bernie. It's Murdoch Madoff.
Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
What is
Bernie Madoff doesn't own
Bernie
shit.
Madoff.
He's in prison.
No, Bernie Madoff's in prison. This guy's named Murdoch.
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch.
What is it?
Oh,
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert
Duke Mulberry.
Duke Mulberry. Oh, you sexy bitch.
Yeah, he's a fucking sexy looking dude.
Especially
in that photo. That's artsy as shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, Duke.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Duke.
But there's a documentary coming out on him recently, and he wasn't really on my radar. But they showed that, he owns the Wall Street Journal,
He owns Fox.
Fox.
Yeah.
He owns a massive Australia, UK.
Oh yeah, he owns Sky News in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the comment was, hey, those are the only 3 in the U.S. that are conservative leaning. What if that guy gets taken out, and then every single outlet has the exact same narrative, and you no longer have sparring ideas?
The thing is, I just don't think that'll happen, only because we do have, for lack of a better word, a 2-party system. And so it's not in anyone's, I don't think it's anyone's, I just watched The Dark Knight the other day. And, it's like when the Joker says to Batman, he says, you want to kill me? He goes, I want to kill you. I can't live without you. You know what I mean? And that's really what you got, is whether or not the right thinks that the lefts are demons or the left thinks the right's demons. It doesn't play well if you don't have someone to.
Close. The old colloquial phrase is that the right thinks the left is misguided. The left thinks the right is evil. It's like the colloquial. And I mean, that's obviously not accurate for everybody, but it sums it up.
Yeah, you need a villain.
Yeah. Let's see. Dwayne said Minority Report where the spider scanned his pupil. Well, that's out. New cell phones. It's retinal scanners on cell phones now. That's crazy. Berdoff Madoff with a shitload of money. Check out the first Rothschild. News Corps. Yeah. Rupert sold everything but News Corps. Duke says hello all. Duke, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Duke.
Dwayne says documentary The 1% on Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah,
check that out at some point. Duke Mulberry said watched Outfoxed, good documentary about him. I'll have to check that one out too. Last one said, why do you think cancel culture is big? Can't be a free thinking, sarcastic comedian pushing boundaries is not cool anymore. I agree. We live in an age of self censorship, Dwayne. Where
I've never been cool, so
no, me neither. I do some cool stuff, but I've never claimed to be cool.
I would just like to talk to that point a bit, because I've seen comedy this year. Right now, I'm talking about the Woolen Mill is going to start producing in New York City again, and as soon as May, and maybe as soon as April, but it's on the radar. But in 15 years, I've watched New York comedy change, and this is just me, but I feel like we were closer when we were able to make fun of each other, when we weren't so afraid to offend, where we were able to say that the idiosyncrasies or the things that were comical about our nature. It might not today. It seems completely arrogant and ridiculous for anybody to make fun of their super of their apartment building who might be Mexican. But anybody who had a super who was Mexican and they saw the things that they did, that's funny. And it was things that we recognized as things that were universal that we all enjoyed. It wasn't putting someone down. It was making fun of the fact that something that we all share in common is our own funny things. And I feel like we were closer then when we felt like we could make fun of each other than when we have to be really afraid of offending each other over every single thing. Sometimes when things hurt, they hurt because there's a truth to it. And the truth is, something that's universal. And so I feel like I don't know why it's gone the way it is. There's certain things we don't want to be ignorant. We don't want to propagate ignorance at all.
Oh, We lost Colin and not Ryan.
I was gonna say I'm close. I was looking for a cord and like trying not to like make sudden movements.
Okay, we're pretty much at the end anyways. We actually ran a bunch over, and this is gonna be like an hour and a half long episode, but it's been awesome. Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Hey, thank you guys.
I did want to comment on this comment because I thought it was really funny and sad that Thaddeus commented, and he said it's getting sad that comedians are more trusted than journalists. And I agree. That's fucking depressing.
Well,
that's where we're at. And that some comedians have actually gone on to be good journalists now. Colin's back. Okay.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulty. Well, like I always say, I get my news every week right here on the Hickory is Drinking Under Quarantine.
And that's what I was saying, Colin. Thad commented and said it's getting sad that comedians are more trusted than journalists.
Hey, this is where I get my news.
I'm like, yeah, dude. It took me an entire week to make sure that that dick that the boat drew was real because I didn't want to put it on the show only for it to be a troll and for me to get played. So yeah, I do
and
some
like
back
the record
research.
show, the guy drew a massive dick right before he crashed the boat.
I do some research because I don't want to be presenting false information. As funny as it could be,